Hello, eighth grade. So this video will be going over the LP20 assignment 1, which is a review on graphing lines, graphing linear equations onto a XY coordinate plane, graphing lines from slope, intercept, form. This is what we learned about before we went on winter break. Make sure you read the directions carefully. So state the slope and the y-intercept. So you're going to name the slope, you're going to name the y-intercept. You're going to graph by dragging at least 3 of the pink points onto the graph. So you have to place at least 3 points. Then you're going to use the orange line to connect your points. So I'm going to go ahead and do one of these with you. There are 10 problems that you will need to do, but we're going to go ahead and do this first one here together. So we need to name our slope and we need to name our y-intercept. Remember, when we have our equations, they're written in y equals mx plus b form. Your slope is the number that is in the position of the m. So in this equation, my slope is 3. And you're just going to come into this text box, delete the number symbol, and you would put the number 3. My intercept is the number that is in the place of b here. In this case, be very cautious. The signs are important. So my b, my intercept, is a value of -1. Now, when you type this in, make sure that you are typing in the actual point that that intercept is at. So at 0, comma, -1. Okay, now that I have placed my slope and my intercept into the orange boxes, we can go ahead and start graphing. So remember, we need at least 3 of these pink points. The first point you want to place is going to be at the y-intercept, where x is 0 and y is -1. So coming over on my graph, I start at the middle. This is 0, 0. My x-axis is here, so where x is 0 means we're still on the middle. And my y-axis, which is the one that moves up and down, needs to be at -1. So boom, right there. This is where x is 0, so no left, no right movement, and y is down 1, so -1. Now we're going to use the slope to help us, and I always like to turn my slopes into fractions. So if I want to take this whole number and make it a fraction, it would be 3/1. Now we can use that to figure out the next points on our graph. So my slope, my 3/1, remember, rise over run. So I'm going to rise 3, I'm going to move up 3, and I'm going to run 1. We're going to move over 1. So let's grab our next point. Start at the same point you were at. So I'm going to start at my y-intercept, and I'm going to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to run 1. So I'm going to go over 1. And boom, right there. And then we're going to do it again. Ready? So from the point you just placed, you're going to go up 3, 2, 3, and over 1. Okay. We can also do the same practice, but going down. So if I come back here and I go, instead of rise 3, I go down 3, 1, 2, 3. And then instead of moving to the right, I move to the left 1. Boom. Now we've got our points placed. They're all starting to make a straight line. So we have our slope, we have our intercept, we graphed our points. The last thing we need to do is to take our little orange line over here, and we are going to move it. We're going to rotate it using this little dot so that we can make sure that our line lines up with our points. And it may take a moment for you to be able to get this lined up quite right. So you can see mine's not quite there yet. I'm going to slide it over, rotate it just a little bit more, and we can see it's starting to line up better. Okay. Almost, not quite. Let's try back that way a little bit. Take a moment. It may take a little bit of practice to get this sitting where you want it to be sitting, but your goal is to have your line going through your points. Okay? And that's it. Find your slope, find your intercept, graph the points, connect your dots. Okay? I'll go ahead and do one more example for you guys. A little bit lower on. Let's do number 8. So number 8, very, very similar problem, except you're going to have to change your equation just a little bit because we want it to be in the right form. So if we have y equals, and we want our slope with the x to come first, we're going to have to rearrange our equation just a little bit. So this negative 5 over 4x and this positive 5 are going to have to switch places. So I like to use a strategy called bubbles. I put all of my stuff in a bubble with its sign, make sure I don't lose any of my negatives, and we can quite easily rewrite that now. So y is not moving, equals, I'm going to put this negative 5/4 x here at the beginning. And then that positive 5, so plus 5. And now our equation is in the right order. So we can now use that information to start figuring out our slope and our intercept. Slope is always the number in front of the x when we are in this form. So my slope is negative 5 over 4. Negative 5 over 4. And my intercept then is the point at the very end. So my y-intercept is where y is 5. Remember, you're writing this as a point. So x is 0, comma, y is 5. Done. We have our slope. We have our intercept. Now we want to graph our points. So start at 0, 0. X is 0, so we don't move anywhere. Y is positive 5. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you are counting your graphs carefully. Once we've placed our first point, now we're just going to follow and use our slope to graph the rest of it. So it's down 5 over 4. So down 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. We're going to go ahead and do that one more time. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on this graph, we really can't fit our other points. So this is why the directions say you have to have at least 3 points, because you may not fit the fourth one on there, but that's okay. These 3 points give us enough information to be able to graph our line carefully. So we're going to rotate it till it's about lined up where it needs to be. Give it a quick rotation and we can test it. So you can see I still got to rotate it. This may take a couple tries to make sure that you get the line at the right angle, but that's okay. Gives us some good practice, making sure we've got our line straight. Okay, and we can see that it's starting to fit a little bit better. Maybe give it another little rotation there. Boom, straight line through all my points. Okay. Please make sure you get this done. If we look in Google Classroom, your LP20 assignment 1, the review, notice this is due by Wednesday, okay? I wanna make sure you guys have the review done while you still have time to ask for help in office hours, all right?